Good day, viewers. Today we're going to talk about the definition of speed and the calculation of speed. In our last video, we talked about the meaning of speed and the difference between speed and velocity, and we're also trying to demonstrate speed from the different locomotives, like the vehicles, the trains, and all the locomotives that we've taken a look at. Today we're going to talk about the definition of speed. What is speed, so to say, in physics? Speed is defined as the total distance traveled by an object divided by the total time taken for the object to have covered that distance. Therefore, it means mathematically speed, average speed, which is the total speed, the average of all the speed the vehicle had moved, is the distance, the total distance traveled by the vehicle or car divided by the total time it has taken that car to have reached that journey. Now, if we have talked about speed in this perspective, then we've measured some other parameters such as the distance traveled. Now, if we've measured the distance traveled, it therefore means we have to understand what the distance is and what unit is used to represent the distance traveled by a car. Now, for example, the distance is the total path taken by an object, the total path taken by an object. It's a scalar quantity, therefore we're not looking at whether it's a straight path or it's bent or thereabout. Now, the distance is measured in meter. This is an internationally accepted unit for distance. And we also mentioned the time taken for speed. So it means we're looking at the unit for time. And the unit for time is seconds. The generally accepted unit for time is second. Therefore, we say the unit for speed will become meters per second, because we are saying distance traveled divided by the time taken. Therefore, the unit of speed is meters for distance per second. Per means divide, seconds means the unit for the time taken to have covered that distance. But on the other hand, we can have other units that connote speed, that represent speed as well, like kilometer per hour, miles per hour. They also are bigger units used for speed. Now, having said the definition of speed and the unit used for measuring speed, now we're going to look at how simple problems are calculated in speed. Now, for example, we're going to take a look at this example. We say a train takes 100 seconds to travel a distance of 1,500 meters. What is the average speed of the train? Now, remember we said that speed is defined as, or mathematically represented as, the total distance traveled by a train or by an object divided by the total time taken by the same object. Now, it therefore means if we put that into cognizance, we see that the speed is equal to the distance moved over the time taken. Therefore, from our questions, we could see, or we could bring out this parameter, that the distance traveled by this train here, is 1,500 meters. And we said it took this train 100 seconds to move this distance. Therefore, the speed will be this 1,500 meters divided by the 100 seconds, which is 1,500 meter divided by 100 seconds, which is equal to 15 meters per second. So it therefore means the speed of this train is 15 meters per second. So if that is understood, then we should draw a triangle to represent the speed formula. So if we look at the triangle for speed formula, we're seeing that the top edge of the triangle is D, and the bottom side is divided to speed and time. Now, what this triangle connotes, or what it represents, is speed. This speed is equal to this distance divided by this time. So it means speed is distance over time from this triangle. What if we asking you to calculate the distance? We give you the speed and we give you the time. Distance will therefore be speed multiplied by time. So distance from this triangle formula is speed multiplied by time. What if we ask to calculate time? We give you the distance and we give you the speed. So for in this case, it will be distance divided by speed. If you're looking for time, is distance divided by speed. So this is what all of this represents. For speed is distance over time, and for time is distance over speed, and for distance is speed multiplied by time. Okay, now if this is understood, then we now look at more problems, probably looking for the distance traveled by a car. Imagine this is your car and you're moving from your house to your friend's house, and we've told you that your car travels with a speed of 25 meters per second for 3 minutes. So probably your friend's house is not that far away from your house. So you had a speed of 25 meters per second for 3 minutes. Now how far does your car travel? How far do you go? In physics, when we say how far, we mean the distance traveled. When we say how long, we mean the time taken. When we say how fast, we mean the speed. Therefore, in this question, we've been asked to calculate the distance. The distance is speed equal, from the speed formula that we already noted, speed is distance over time. So we're going to make distance the subject of this formula. We're going to make distance the subject. So distance, if you cross multiply, because we're going to cross multiply mathematically, the distance will be this time multiplied by the speed. So distance is speed multiplied by time. And from the question, we saw that the speed was 25 meters per second, but the time was 3 minutes. In physics, we convert minutes to seconds because the internationally accepted unit for time is seconds. So 3 minutes converted to seconds will be 3 times 60, because 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. Therefore 3 minutes equal to 3 times 60, which is equals to 180 seconds. Therefore distance will be the 25 meters per second for speed multiplied by 180 meters for time. Therefore the distance moved by this car is equal to 4,500 meters. 4,500 meters could be converted to kilometer by dividing by 1,000. If you divide this by 1,000, you're going to have 4.5 kilometer. Now let's move ahead. Let's take a look at some problems now to illustrate the idea that we've talked about, to see if we understand exactly what we talked about. Now take a look at this first problem. We have this first question says a bird flies 10 meters in 2 seconds. What is the speed? 10 meters in 2 seconds. What's the speed? Now we said speed is distance divided by time. Speed is distance traveled divided by time taken. Now the distance traveled in this case is 10 meters, and the time taken is 2 seconds. So speed will be 10 divided by 2. 10 divided by 2 will be equivalent to 5 meters per second. Yes, that's right. So take a look at it. Now we move to the next question. The next question says if an aeroplane takes 8 hours to fly 5,000 kilometers, what is the speed? An aeroplane takes 5,000 kilometers to fly 8 hours to fly 5,000 kilometers. What is the speed? Now speed is distance divided by time. So we also said today that the unit of distance is also accepted for kilometer as long as the time is in hours. So 5,000 divided by 8, you're going to get 625 kilometers per hour. Yeah, that's right. That's great. So meaning we already understood how to calculate. We move to the next question. A man takes his dogs to a veterinary doctor who is 30 kilometers away from his house. Now if it takes 45 minutes to get there, what is the speed at which the man was moving? Now we say speed is distance divided by time. The time is in minutes, so we're going to convert this time in minutes to hour. How do you convert to hour? We're going to divide by 60, which will give us 0.75 hour. So this speed will be 30 kilometer divided by 0.75 hour, which will give us a speed of 40 kilometer per hour. That's right, that's great. Now let's move ahead to the next question. A woman walks at 5 kilometer per hour for 30 minutes. How far does she travel in this time? Now, if you take a look at this question, the speed was given to us. 5 kilometer per hour is the speed, and the time was 30 minutes. So what we need to do is to convert this time to hour, because the speed is in kilometer per hour. So we just need to convert this time to hour. So if we do that, we therefore have the time to be 0.5, because 30 minutes means half an hour, which is 0.5. Therefore, the distance traveled, as the question is asking, is speed multiplied by time. So if you say 0.5 multiplied by 5, it's going to be 2.5 kilometer. Yeah, that's great. So it means we understood exactly what we're talking about, which means 5 multiplied by 0.5. So we go to the next question, which says, how long does it take a lorry to travel at 10 meters per second to cover 1 kilometer? Speed is given to us in meter per second, and the distance is given to us 1 kilometer. 1 kilometer we change to what? We change to meter, because the speed is in meter per second. We cannot leave this in kilometer. So it becomes 1 kilometer equals to 1,000 meter, the basics that we learned in primary school. So 1 kilometer equals to 1,000. Therefore, this question is demanding us to get the time traveled, the time taken to travel the journey. So time, as we know, is distance divided by speed. Time is distance divided by speed. So the distance divided by the speed. The distance is 1,000 meters, and the speed is 10 meters per second. So 1,000 divided by 10 will be 100 seconds. So that is it. This is great. So it means we also understand we can calculate time, we can calculate speed, we can also calculate the distance moved. Now let's take a look at this problem. Now it says a snail moves at 0.03 kilometer per hour. How long does it take to climb its way 1 meter along a garden path? Now, how long in this regard means the time taking. Now this speed divided by time. For example, we said speed is distance divided by time. So the distance taken divided by time gives the speed. But in this case, we're looking at something else. We're going to calculate the time. Time will be distance divided by speed. This distance moved divided by the speed. So the distance moved is 1 meter. We just change this kilometer per hour to meter per second. How do you do that in physics? How do you change kilometer per hour to meter per second? We go to multiply by 1,000, divide by 60 and 60, meaning 0.03 multiplied by 1,000 divided by 60 times 60. So after doing that, we get our values in kilometer, in meter per second, and then we divide by the time taking. Therefore, we convert the time, which is 120 seconds, to minutes. That will give us roughly 2 minutes. That's great. So this is for speed calculations and other examples. For our next video, we're going to look at the distant time graphs, as it were, that gives the speed of the motion. Because when we look at a distant time graph, we're going to get the speed of the motion that has been traveled. So in our next video, we're going to look at a distant time graph, and also probably a displacement time graph in the case of velocity. Thank you very much.